Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'll be taking a look at the new Forza Motorsport, which is available on the Xbox Series X, S and PC. This is the premium edition, which includes the full game, the race day car pack, the car pass, which consists of 30 cars delivered to your game weekly, which is one per week, the VIP membership and the welcome pack. Plus you get the game 5 days early. So I've been given early access to this, and I wanted to take you through some of the game features and how it looks visually and to answer some of your questions. But before I begin, if you're new to the channel, hope you can support me by subscribing and hitting the bell icon to get notified of my next release. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments section below. When starting the game for the first time, it begins with you racing immediately on two tracks. So Maple Valley racing with the 2024 Chevrolet Corvette E-Ray, and Hakone racing with the 2023 Cadillac Racing V-Series R. This is to immediately give you a quick taster of the racing experience in all its glory. So after completing these races, you'll be presented with the main menu. So let's begin by taking a look at the different gaming modes available. The first is the career mode, and this is a single player car building experience with over 800 performance upgrades available. You have to initially complete the Builders Cup intro to move on to the full Builders Cup, which has a number of different tours and events to compete in. And it has featured events, which is where events are available for a certain period of time. Then there's featured multiplayer, and this lets you compete with drivers from around the world. You need to complete 3 qualifier events to unlock additional series. Your performance in these events will determine your initial skill rating and safety rating, both of which are used in matchmaking. Then there's free play, which lets you quickly start racing, allowing you to pick any car and any track, together with allowing you to customize the race conditions. Then there's rivals, which is a time attack event where you can pick your class of event and race against a rival ghost car of the next best driver. And finally there's private multiplayer, which lets you play online with your friends with the ability to customize your race setup and conditions during the racing, including car restrictions and custom rules. But unfortunately there's no 2-player split screen option, which personally I think is a real shame, as it would be quite a fun option to have. On to custom racing options, which are available via free play, and the advantage of this option is that you can try out any combination of car, track and weather conditions straight away. And to do this, you'd go into advanced event, select one of the 500 cars available in the game, select the type of game. So there's custom, circuit race, timed, multi-class and test drive. You can select between 20 different tracks, with each one having a variety of different track layouts. Select a time of day, then choose between the different weather conditions for a race, with there being quite a few to choose from. I'll briefly run you through the ones available. So you've got random, variable, clear, mostly clear, partly cloudy, cloudy, looming clouds, thunder clouds, thin haze, patchy fog, dense fog, overcast dry, overcast wet, drizzle, light rain, moderate rain, heavy rain and thunderstorms. So quite a number available. And to note, once you've entered a race, you can't change conditions in the middle of that race. Then there's dynamic track rubber. With this on, rubber worn from the tires builds up on the track surface over time. So on a dry track, increasing grip but reducing grip on a wet track. You also have starting track rubber level. This sets the starting level of a dynamic track rubber at the start of an event. Graphics wise, there's 3 different modes. First one is performance, which is the recommended mode where you get 4K at 60 frames per second. Then there's performance RT, where on the track ray tracing is enabled at 60 frames per second, but with a variable resolution. And finally there's visuals, with maximum 4K visual quality on the track with ray tracing at 30 frames per second. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the view in each of the different modes in an Audi RS3 on the Grand Oak Raceway track on a clear day at noon. I've done a screen record of the screen with the camera pointed directly at my LG OLED G3 TV, so I'm not using a capture box for this. And as you can see, the picture quality in all 3 modes for the game was very smooth, even at 4K 30 frames per second. You can see the subtle differences in detail between the different modes. I'll let this run for a bit so you can see for yourself. Next, doing the same race with thunderstorms. Visuals were pretty good. You can see the rain coming off the back tires, reflections in the rain from the small puddles on the track, but you don't see the rain splashing from those puddles in the chase camera views. Even the cockpit view is pretty impressive. You can see the rain splashing down on the screen and even the droplets of rain at the sides sort of running across the window. And even in cockpit view, it looks pretty impressive with lots of detail all around you. Inside the car, where you can even see your gloves reflecting on the front windscreen, flags flying in the wind to the reflections on the road from trees, general surroundings. Bumping into the side barriers containing tires, you'll see the tires shake from the impact and even come out of the barrier. The side camera moves around too, and the crowds at the track are animated, in which they'll react to the race, where they'll either cheer or even boo the drivers. The level of detail in the game looks incredible. You can see the developers have fully utilized ray tracing to give an impressive racing experience, visually giving a great experience, but at times there are some inconsistencies. A couple of things I came across were when you're knocking into a barrier with tires, this would cause one of the tires to stick out onto racing, and the core driving experience has been built from the ground up to showcase the Xbox Series X and the S consoles. So it'll be interesting to see how this feels. Now, one of the questions a lot of people ask is regarding the in-game physics, and I'm going to attempt to break this down into 7 areas to help to some extent to cover this. First one is the handling of cars and how close they are to the real world physics, and obviously they're not going to be able to replicate the details from a game like iRacing, but I'd say they've done a good job with the handling being pretty good, especially on the wheel, to give quite an enjoyable racing experience with understeer and oversteer accommodated well. Second is accurate damage modeling, and this is where collisions and crashes affect the car's performance. So if you had a serious head-on collision, the damage shown doesn't seem as accurate as what would happen in real life, and in this case the damage from knocks and scrapes are visible, but there's no effect on the car's performance, so not realistic. Third is dynamic weather, so driving in different conditions, and this seems to work well with rain impacting grip of the tires with the dynamic track rubber, where the rubber from the worn tires builds up on the track surface over time. So really good. Braking hard on the track, you can see the tread coming from your tires onto the track, and this is maintained as you go around the track. Fourth, we have realistic AI behavior, and with this the game should have AI drivers that behave realistically and provides a challenging driving experience. It was generally good in this area, providing a challenging racing experience, and you could adjust the difficulty level in the game, but there were times where the AI would just knock into you and you'd lose control on the track, or if you were blocking their path, they wouldn't slow down or go round you, but instead smash straight into you. But I'd say competitive to race against, but pretty dumb on the track at times. Fifth is customizable settings, where you can fine-tune the driving experience, allowing you to change the tyre pressure, gear ratios and suspension stiffness, etc. All of which worked well through the fine-tune menu, with there being over 800 unique upgrades and custom modifications you could do. There were even customizations available for the driving experience, which lets you tweak a number of different settings, so definitely worth having a little play around with that. Sixth is having realistic tracks accurately modeled with accurate elevation changes, chamber angles and other details. Maple Valley is a great track demonstrating this, as it has a number of elevation changes and chamber angles, feeling good throughout when racing, and you can feel the variations as you're driving along. And finally, for the 7th, we have force feedback. First up, testing with a controller. It feels good with the rumble from the motors fully utilized on the controller, feeding back when you're braking, taking a turn, or even when you've come off the track. The level of detail feels good when racing, with varying levels of feedback, whether you're driving on the track or you've come off onto the gravel or grass at the side. The overall experience is good. On to testing the game with a wheel, and honestly this is the best way to race in Forza Motorsport. I've tested a number of different wheels from different brands, and for the best experience you've really got to get a direct drive wheelbase like the Fanatec CSL-DD or the Logitech Pro wheel, as they provide a really smooth and refined racing experience. You get a good amount of detail from bumps, curbs and the track itself, together with when you come off the track and onto the gravel. It feels quite realistic when you're trying to come off that area where you can feel the tires trying to grip and move off, something that wasn't noticeable in Forza Motorsport 7. And even driving on grass, you feel the differences in terrain. Pit stops are available in races, and if you entered, you'll have to give up control of the car briefly, and you can select any actions you want performed, and then you'll gain access closer to exiting the pits. I'd say Forza Motorsport is more of a sim racing game, but not to the detail given from something like iRacing or Certa Corsa Competizione, but similar to the Gran Turismo side of things, where you're able to purchase cars, customize them to race, S, there's no accurate damage modeling, so realism is limited in that area. There's 6 different camera view angle options, which I've displayed on the screen all at the same time, doing the same race, so you can see from a different perspective. So there's near and far chase camera, driver and cockpit view, and hood camera and bumper camera. Performance in each view is equally as good, and I didn't notice any issues regarding this. I'll let this run through for a bit so you can see for yourself. You can even adjust the camera field of view in each of these by going into settings, gameplay and HUD, make sure the camera FOV is set to on, and select the camera view you want. Here I've selected cockpit, so going down I can now increase or decrease the view depending upon how far I want to sit from the wheel or how close, and this is how it will look reducing it to the minimum, and here's how it is increasing it to the maximum. There's no additional adjustments from this, so you can't adjust your height in the seat, for example. In terms of viewing experience on the Xbox Series X and S, only a standard single screen with a 16:9 aspect ratio is supported. But if you move over to a PC, you'll have ultra wide support as shown here, where I'm getting a 5120 by 1440 resolution, which works pretty well, giving an even wider viewing perspective. The only thing to note is cinematic sequences and the menu navigation still remains in a 16:9 aspect ratio, but as soon as you start racing, it flips over to the full ultra wide support. And even multiple monitors are supported as shown here, where I've connected up 2 ultra wide monitors to give an insane 7680 by 1080 resolution to get an insane viewing perspective of the entire cockpit, enabling you to see both wing mirrors, looking absolutely amazing. This generally worked well, but I did experience a couple of game crashes, but I'm not sure if this was due to me having 2 different monitors which supported different refresh rates, so that could be the reason for that. Let's compare the picture quality on the Xbox Series X, a PC, and the Xbox Series S. I've set performance to visuals on all of them, and output is set to 4K 120Hz. But remember, the Xbox Series S doesn't support true 4K. Now, looking closely at the detail, I'd say the Xbox Series X and PC are comparable, giving quite good visuals with a lot of detail, whereas the graphics on the Xbox Series S is a little bit more softer and not as sharp. Sound quality from the racing experience is excellent. The different engine sounds from the cars were great. Changing camera view changed the sound to accommodate the view, and even the rain and thunder effects sounded really good. In comparison to Forza Horizon 5, which is a different genre of game, with it being more of an open world racing game with an arcade feel, but racing in Forza Horizon with a wheel does feel erratic at times, with you quite easily losing control in a race. So it needed quite a bit of tweaking on the settings to get a better experience. Forza Motorsport, on the other hand, is more of a sim racing game, but not to the detail given from something like iRacing or Assetto Corsa Competizione, but similar to the Gran Turismo side of things, with you able to purchase cars, customize them to race, and have multiplayer with 2-player split screen support. But with Forza Motorsport, you don't have to build up completing different levels to allow you to gain access to different functionality, like in Gran Turismo, where you have to do a certain number of races to unlock multiplayer. Graphics wise, Forza Motorsport does look brighter with the ray tracing, and the reflections from the cars do look much better in Forza Motorsport. Here I have a side-by-side comparison showing some of the detail between Forza Motorsport and Gran Turismo. I'll let this run for a bit so you can see for yourself. So in summary, the new Forza Motorsport is an awesome racing game, providing a great racing experience, whether you're playing on a controller or wheel. I'll be doing some wheel reviews with Forza Motorsport in the next few days, so if you want to see how it performs on the different wheels from Logitech and Fanatec on both a PC and console, then hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss them. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And for those of you who got to the end of this video, please leave a comment with Forza, as it's nice to see who's got to the end of my video, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. You can follow me on my socials. Thanks for viewing, and see you in the next one.